Today we're reading Proverbs chapter 3, verses 5 and 6. These verses come from wisdom literature. They are not written in the middle of a crisis. They are written to shape how someone lives consistently. Wisdom in Proverbs is practical. It addresses daily decisions, direction, judgment, perspective. The passage begins, "Trust in the Lord with all your heart, and lean not on your own understanding." The word trust here means to rely fully, to place your weight upon something. If you lean your full weight on something unstable, it collapses. If you lean on something firm, you stand securely. This verse is asking a very practical question. Where are you placing your weight? With all your heart does not mean emotion alone. In Scripture, the heart represents the center of your will, your commitments, your inner orientation. Trusting with all your heart means alignment. It means you are not dividing your reliance. You are not partly trusting God while mostly depending on your own conclusions. Then comes the contrast. Lean not on your own understanding. This does not mean you stop thinking. It does not mean wisdom is dismissed. Proverbs encourages learning, discernment, and careful thought, but it does recognize a limit. Your understanding is partial. It is shaped by experience. It is influenced by emotion. It is limited to what you can currently see. God's understanding is complete. When you rely only on your own understanding, pressure increases quickly, because everything depends on what you can predict, and prediction is exhausting. When you need direction, the mind often searches for total clarity. It wants guarantees. It wants certainty before movement, but Proverbs does not promise complete foresight. It teaches trust before clarity. Trust does not eliminate responsibility. It stabilizes it. You still think. You still plan wisely. You still make careful decisions, but you do not carry the full burden of outcomes. Leaning only on yourself creates tension. Leaning on God creates steadiness. There is a difference between thoughtful planning and anxious control. Thoughtful planning acts within your responsibility. Anxious control tries to manage what is beyond it. This verse gently redirects that instinct. It invites you to recognize your limits without feeling small. It invites you to rely on God without becoming passive. Trust here is active. It is choosing whose perspective shapes your direction. It is acknowledging that your understanding does not have to be complete in order for you to move forward faithfully. For someone who feels uncertain about what step to take next, this matters deeply. You do not need to see the entire road. You need to remain aligned. Trust becomes the posture that steadies your next decision. Not panic, not urgency. Trust. And that is where the passage continues. In all your ways, acknowledge Him, and He will make your paths straight. In all your ways. Not only in spiritual decisions, not only when life feels overwhelming, all your ways, your work, your relationships, your responsibilities, your daily choices. Acknowledging God does not mean repeating religious phrases. It means recognizing His authority, inviting His perspective, welcoming His direction into every part of your life. Acknowledgement is awareness. It is remembering that you are not navigating independently. When you acknowledge God, you pause long enough to align. You ask, does this reflect wisdom? Does this reflect integrity? Does this reflect trust? That awareness shapes decisions quietly. Then comes the promise. He will make your paths straight. Straight does not mean easy. It does not mean free of effort. It means directed, clear, free from unnecessary confusion. In ancient language, a straight path was a path without obstacles that caused wandering. It was a path that led somewhere intentionally. When you trust God and acknowledge Him, direction becomes clearer over time. Not always instantly, but progressively. This is important. Proverbs does not promise immediate clarity for every question. It promises guidance for those who remain aligned. There is a difference between demanding instant answers and walking in steady trust. Instant answers feel secure for a moment. Steady trust builds lasting confidence. When your mind feels uncertain about direction, it often wants guarantees. It wants the outcome mapped out completely. But wisdom teaches something different. You do not need the entire path visible. You need the next step aligned. When you lean on your own understanding alone, you may overanalyze every option. You may second-guess every movement. You may hesitate out of fear of choosing wrongly. But when you trust God with your whole heart, decision-making becomes less about control and more about faithfulness. Faithfulness to what you know is right. Faithfulness to what aligns with wisdom. Faithfulness to what reflects integrity. Over time, that posture shapes your path. Straight paths are often the result of consistent trust, not dramatic moments. They are formed by daily alignment, by small, faithful choices, by steady reliance. You may not always feel confident, but confidence grows from repetition, from repeatedly placing your weight on something stable. God's guidance is not fragile. It does not disappear when you feel uncertain. It remains. You are not required to foresee every outcome. You are invited to trust. You are not required to eliminate every question. You are invited to acknowledge Him. And when you do, your path is shaped with intention. That is wisdom. Carry that with you for a moment.